Maggie Barry.
I rise to speak in favour of the Reserve Bank of New Zealand Covered Bonds Amendment Bill, and it is, as the Greens have said, and others before me, indeed a sign of the times that we need such a piece of legislation, that we need something that is going to regulate us. And I think when you look at what has happened in Europe, we are catching up really with the rest of the world by implementing a legislative framework around this. It's been done in Europe, it's been done in Australia, and as we've heard from Labour, the Greens, New Zealand First, this is indeed a moment of rare accord, the first that I have seen as Member of Parliament, coming up to 6 months now. Part of that probably is to do with the Reserve Bank briefing, which was substantial enough and detailed enough and able to really answer the sort of questions that come up prior to a Select Committee situation. I'm on the Finance and Expenditure Select Committee, so I look forward to debating with my colleagues across the House about the detail of this, as to what percentage, of course, there should be limits on. Yes, I accept that Canada and Australia have done it differently. Maybe 10% can be argued through at Select Committee level. Maybe not. I share also the concerns around unsecured creditors and feel that it will indeed be a robust discussion around the detail, even though there is very broad-based recognition from everyone in this chamber and all the political parties that we do need to do this piece of legislation. So really, how much more is there to be said about this? We're coming into line with the rest of the world. It will encourage international investors to come here. In fact, it would be a limiting factor to our ability to attract investors and so forth if we did not have it. So really, it is an essential thing for us to do. Greater clarity for investors and depositors is something that this government feels very strongly about. This piece of legislation is yet another example. Nick Smith detailed them earlier, prior to the dinner break. He detailed through some of the other legislation that this is really part of for this government to put through. It's important that we can do that, and it is, as I said, refreshing to see such almost universal approval for the bill, with the caveats that have been mentioned by others. So, under this bill, as others have said, the banks issuing covered bonds will have to register their programs with the Reserve Bank and notify the Reserve Bank. Unlike some of the Greens, for example, I do feel that that is the appropriate entity to do that. I think the Reserve Bank, far from looking for the work, would be the appropriate entity to do this, and I think that there really isn't anyone else that we could use in that way. So I believe that with some of the detail to be still deliberated, the accord that there is around this bill is excellent, and I look forward to it coming before my Select Committee, and I'm very pleased to see Labour, New Zealand First, the Greens and everyone supporting it. A rare event, and I sit down with that uplifting notion in my mind and look forward to it coming back to F&E.
That concludes the debate, so I'll put the question, which is that the motion be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it.
Reserve Bank of New Zealand Covered Bonds Amendment Bill, first reading.
The question is that the Reserve Bank of New Zealand Covered Bonds Amendment Bill be considered by the Finance and Expenditure Committee. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Call on Government Order of the Day number 4.